People often say that two worlds can never truly understand each other. In this story, those two worlds were not planets or galaxies, but lives shaped by very different paths. She lived in a world that felt distant to most people. Everything around her moved fast. Decisions affected many lives. People watched her closely, praised her success, and waited for her to fail. From a young age, she learned how to lead, how to stand straight under pressure, and how to never show weakness in public. Her life was filled with meetings, expectations, and constant judgment. To many, she felt almost unreal, like someone from another realm. He came from the opposite direction. His life was quiet. He worked long hours, returned home tired, and found peace in simple routines. He did not talk much about himself. He listened more than he spoke. His clothes were plain, his habits ordinary. If you passed him on the street, you would never look twice. There was nothing about him that demanded attention. When people heard they were getting married, confusion spread quickly. Some were shocked. Others laughed behind closed doors. A few openly questioned the decision. How could someone so powerful choose someone so simple? Many believed it was a mistake, a short chapter that would soon end. She heard the whispers, but ignored them. She believed love did not need approval. He never reacted to the comments at all. When people looked down on him, he only smiled politely and stepped aside. That silence made others believe he had nothing to say because there was nothing inside him. The early days of marriage were calm but uneven. Her life continued at a fast pace. Phones rang late at night. Problems followed her home. Stress showed on her face even when she tried to hide it. He noticed everything. He made sure the house stayed peaceful. Meals were ready. Lights were dim. He never complained about being ignored when her work demanded attention. Sometimes she wondered if she was being unfair. She asked him if he ever felt small, standing beside her. He answered with a gentle voice, saying that standing beside someone strong did not make him weak. She did not fully understand his words at the time out at gatherings. People treated him like an accessory. Conversations flowed around him, rarely toward him. When someone asked what he did for a living, their interest faded quickly after hearing the answer. No one asked follow-up questions. No one cared. She noticed this and felt a quiet pain, but he never showed discomfort. Instead, he made others feel comfortable. He remembered names. He listened without interrupting. He spoke only when it mattered. Still, people judged strength by volume and status, not by presence. There were moments that hinted at something deeper. Once, during a tense argument between powerful figures, voices rose and tempers flared. While others reacted emotionally, he stayed calm. He placed a hand on her shoulder, grounding her without saying a word. Later, she realized her anger had faded the moment he touched her arm. Another time, a sudden problem appeared at work. A situation that could damage her reputation began spreading fast. Rumors, half-truths, and false stories moved quicker than facts. She returned home exhausted and shaken. Without asking questions, he listened. He did not rush to fix things. He let her speak until the weight on her chest eased. When she finished, he said something simple. He told her storms look worse when you stand in the middle of them. Sometimes, the strongest move is to step back and see the whole sky. The words stayed with her, though she did not yet know why. As weeks passed, the pressure grew heavier. Powerful people who once supported her began to distance themselves. Some protected their own image. Others waited to see how far she would fall. Meetings turned cold. Messages went unanswered. At home, she struggled to sleep. Fear crept into her thoughts. What if everything she built collapsed? What if she became a lesson others would warn about? In those quiet hours, he remained awake beside her. He did not offer empty comfort. He offered presence. She started to notice how steady he was. No matter the situation, his behavior did not change. He woke up early. He kept his promises. He stayed patient even when she snapped from stress. There was no drama in him, only consistency. Still, she assumed he could not truly help with the problems she faced. Her world was too complex, too powerful. She believed his role was emotional support, nothing more. That belief was shared by everyone else. Then came the moment when everything began to crack. A major decision was made without her input. It threatened not only her position, but her future. Legal pressure followed. Accusations were prepared. The situation moved beyond stress into real danger. She came home that night feeling defeated. For the first time, she admitted fear out loud. She said she might lose everything. Her voice trembled. Tears followed. He listened quietly, as always. But something was different this time. When she finished, he did not simply comfort her. He asked careful questions. Clear questions. Questions that showed understanding of systems, power, and consequences. She looked at him with surprise. This was not the reaction she expected. He spoke calmly, outlining options she had not considered. He did not promise miracles. He spoke of preparation, timing, and patience. That night, she realized she had never truly asked about his past. She had accepted the version everyone else believed in. An ordinary man. A quiet shadow as she lay awake, listening to his steady breathing. A thought formed that unsettled her. What if his silence was not emptiness, but control? What if his calm was not weakness, but experience? Outside, the world continued to doubt him. Inside that home, a question had been planted. The storm was only beginning, and she no longer felt certain that she was the strongest one facing it. The man everyone underestimated remained beside her, watching, waiting, ready in ways no one could yet see. The moment had come when calm words and quiet presence would no longer be enough. The world outside had grown harsher, more demanding, and more dangerous. Problems that seemed distant before had now arrived at their doorstep. She felt the pressure in every corner of her life. People she trusted had begun to withdraw. Opportunities she had fought for were slipping away. The situation had escalated to a point where the strength of one person alone could no longer carry the weight at first. She thought she had to face it herself. She tried to make decisions quickly, spoke loudly in meetings, and took on tasks one after another. But the more she tried, the more she felt trapped. The faster she moved, the more the world seemed to move against her. She became exhausted, anxious, and unsure of what was real. He watched quietly, as he had always done. But this time, he did not remain in the background. He started taking action, not with noise or arrogance, but with clear steps. He asked questions that revealed unseen patterns. He spotted weaknesses in the problems they faced and suggested ways to address them without panic. His calm was different. Now it carried authority and confidence. The first thing he did was organize information. Documents, messages, and schedules were scattered. He sorted everything, pointed out inconsistencies, and highlighted what truly mattered. She was surprised. This was not a man who only listened and smiled. He had knowledge, insight, and experience she had never imagined. Next, he started reaching out to people who could help. Not with demands, but with respect and careful words. Contacts that had ignored her now responded to him. People who had dismissed him suddenly found themselves considering his suggestions seriously. He had a way of speaking that drew attention without seeking it. Strength, she realized, was not about showing power, but about using it quietly and wisely. She began to notice changes within herself, too. The fear that had paralyzed her started to fade when he was beside her. Seeing him handle challenges calmly gave her confidence she had lost. She started listening to his advice, instead of forcing solutions on her own. She began to understand that true partnership did not mean doing everything herself. It meant trusting someone capable beside her. There were moments that made her gasp. Once, a critical meeting was about to spiral out of control. Arguments had started, voices were rising, and some people were trying to manipulate the situation. He stepped in calmly, asking simple but precise questions that redirected the conversation. Slowly, the tension melted. Decisions were made, and progress moved forward. She realized that people who had doubted him had no idea what kind of mind they were facing. Later, she learned about his past. He had faced challenges she had never imagined. Years of hardship, responsibilities beyond his age, and moments of choice that demanded courage and patience. These experiences had shaped him into someone able to stand strong without showing off, able to act decisively when chaos surrounded him. He had lived in a world of struggle and responsibility that had taught him endurance, observation, and strategy. She thought about all the times she had underestimated him, all the moments she assumed he could not help, when in reality, he had always been ready. It was a humbling revelation. She realized that true strength is not always visible. Sometimes it is quiet, patient, and unseen until the moment it is needed most. As the days passed, they faced challenge after challenge together. Legal issues were managed with careful precision. Business or personal problems that once seemed impossible were handled one by one. He guided her, but never controlled her. He offered insight, not commands. He showed courage, not arrogance. People began to notice the change. The same individuals who had doubted him now respected his intelligence, calmness, and the quiet force he carried. The bond between them deepened in ways she could not have expected. She no longer saw him as a simple, ordinary man. She saw him as someone remarkable, not because of loud achievements, but because of his resilience, patience, and loyalty. Someone who had her back, no matter how powerful or dangerous the world became. He became not only her support, but also her partner in every sense, capable of carrying not just physical tasks, but emotional and strategic weight as well. Even as external pressures mounted, she no longer felt alone. She could speak her fears without fear of judgment. She could trust decisions to him without worry. She could rest, knowing that when the moment demanded it, he would act decisively and correctly. The quiet strength she had once overlooked had become her anchor. The final test came when an unexpected crisis threatened everything again. Rumors and challenges appeared faster than ever, but this time they faced it together. While others panicked or hid, he moved strategically. He assessed, planned, and executed solutions with care. She followed his lead, not because she was weak, but because she knew his mind and heart were aligned with hers. They worked as a team, each reinforcing the other's strength. By the end of the ordeal, the world had shifted. People who had mocked him in the past now sought his opinion. His actions, once quiet and overlooked, had created respect and trust. And she understood a truth she could not have seen before. True power does not demand recognition. It does not need applause. It shows itself in action, patience, courage, and loyalty. As they stood together after the storm, she felt a deep gratitude that went beyond words. She realized that marrying someone ordinary in appearance had been the most extraordinary choice of her life. The ordinary had revealed the extraordinary. She had underestimated the man she loved, and in doing so, she had almost missed seeing real strength in its truest form. Their journey had begun with doubt, for others, and even for herself. It had moved through fear, tension, and challenge, and it ended with a revelation. That strength often lies hidden, waiting for the right moment to shine. And sometimes, the person least expected to carry the weight becomes the one who holds everything together.